On the news, Federal Executive Council jacks up 2024 budget by 1.5 trillion naira. It's still Fubara for Rivers State. And Emefiele still locked up in Kuje. It's a pleasure to have you join us on TV360 Nigeria. I'm Tamilore Akinkolie. The Federal Executive Council FEC has carried out a comprehensive review of the 2024 appropriation bill and the 2024 to 2025 medium-term expenditure framework, which was earlier approved by the Senate. The adjustment has resulted in a substantial increase of 1.5 trillion naira in the 2024 appropriation bill. This next report has more details.
Just a month ago, the FEC endorsed the 2024-2025 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategies submitted by President Bola Tinubu. The projected 2024 appropriation bill, initially set at 26.0 trillion, faced a review by the FEC with a revived exchange rate of 750 naira per dollar. The new projected budget stands at 27.5 trillion naira, signifying a significant boost in government revenue.
Federal Executive Council approved the 2024 appropriation bill and the presentation of such to the National Assembly by His Excellency Mr. President. The bill has an aggregate expenditure of 27 trillion 500 billion, which is an increase of over 1.5 trillion from the previously estimated using the old reference prices.
In addition, the Council granted approval for the Budget Support Fund for ongoing economic reforms in Abia State, securing 4.2% interest rate annually from the African Development Bank.
A $100 million financing from African Development Bank and US dollars 15 million from the Canada African Development Bank Climate Fund. And it's all to finance Abia State. Essentially, it was approved or it was processed before this administration came in, and so it has been inherited. Essentially, it is concessional borrowing, around 4.2% per annum by Abia State through the federal government. So the funds are to be on lent to Abia State and for waste management and rehabilitation of roads in Umuahia and Aba.
The FEC also prioritized national security by approving the procurement and installation of customized explosive and narcotic detection screening machine for the use of all international airports in the country.
You see various agencies lined up, NDLSA, open your bag, Immigration, open your bag, Customs, open your bag, AFCC, open your bag, and they will dip their hands in your bag. And, so we thought we should do something like you have the TSA in America, where you have detection machines. So when they pass through your machine, your bags through the machines, it detects explosives or any other thing, and that's the end of the search.
Demonstrating a commitment to human rights, the Council reviewed its intention to submit a long overdue human rights periodic review of the country to the United Nations.
Still on the budget, President Bola Tinubu has signaled his readiness to present the 2024 appropriation bill to a joint session of the National Assembly on Wednesday, November 29 by 11 a.m. President Tinubu made this known in an executive communication conveyed to the Senate on Tuesday. Tinubu's letter of intent was read at the plenary by Senate President Godswill Akpabio on Tuesday, November 28.
May I crave the indulgence of the Senate to grant me the slot of 1100 hours on Wednesday, the 29th day of November 2023, to formally present the 2024 appropriation bill to a joint session of the National Assembly. While I look forward to addressing the joint session, please accept, distinguished Senate President and distinguished senators, the assurances of my highest regards. Signed, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I would like to underscore the fact that the projects and programs in the borrowing plan were selected based on positive technical economic evaluations, as well as the expected contribution to the socio-economic development of the country, including employment generation, skills acquisition, support towards the emergence of more entrepreneurs, poverty reduction and food security to improve the livelihood in all the 36 states of the Federation, including the Federal Capital Territory. Considering the huge infrastructural deficit in the country and the enormous financial resources required to fill the gap in funding infrastructure in the face of dwindling financial resources, it has become imperative that we resort to prudent and external borrowing to bridge the financial gap, which would largely be applied to key infrastructure projects, including power, railway, health, among others.
As the President prepares to present the 2024 Budget Appropriation Bill before the joint session of the National Assembly on Wednesday, Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas has assured citizens of participating in the process. The Speaker gave the assurance at the one-day capacity building training retreat for chairmen and deputies of standing committees of the House of Representatives in Abuja. There are more details in this next report.
In a bid to create a transparent engagement with the public in order to reduce suspicion and build trust and support for the 10th legislature while carrying out its legislative businesses. The Speaker of the House has assured Nigerians that they will have the opportunity of participating in the 2024 budget appropriation process.
The House will convene a budget town hall meeting to enable citizens to make inputs into the 2024 budget appropriation. It is the first time such an engagement is planned at the national level. I invite our partners to work with us in preparing for a vigorous and an all-inclusive budget process.
The retreat, whose theme is improving legislative performance through effective committee management, further elicited support from stakeholders who called for synergy, effective engagement with citizens.
The numerous successes I highlighted earlier were achieved within only 5 months, and every success had the signatures of the entire leadership and the members of the House. It has always been the result of teamwork, diligence, patience, and parsimony. Let me also boast that if the House were to be put on what I would term as legislative EDD, this House will deliver on time.
One of the things that citizens are concerned about is the nature of our public hearings. And since committees will be conducting public hearings, we want to implore that you communicate timelines and the participation of citizens early to encourage citizens to participate.
Former Speaker of the House of Representatives and Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, has also made few recommendations that will enhance the ability of the 10th House to perform optimally.
One way to help the Nigerian people to better understand the legislature's role is to expose them to the inner workings of the legislature with a focus on legislative output, such as the publication of oversight and investigative reports. After such reports have been laid and considered on the floor of the House of Representatives, they can be published on a dedicated website as part of efforts to improve transparency and open government.
The Deputy Speaker, while rounding off the retreat, says the engagement with the people will make the efficiency of the work they do trickle down to the roots of what the expectation of the taxpayers desire.
The last is not yet to be heard of the recent incident involving a United Nigeria airline flight en route to Abuja but landed in Asaba. After the dramatic touchdown in Asaba, United Nigeria Airlines spokesperson initially cited poor weather conditions as the reason for the diversion, but the Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, has now debunked that claim. TV360 special correspondent Deji Badimosi has more on the story.
Indeed, Tamilore, the last has not been heard of this bizarre incident. Just as you reported, United Nigeria Airlines had put out a statement that the landing in Asaba was due to poor destination weather, meaning that the weather in Abuja at the time, which was the original destination of the flight, was bad. But the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has now faulted that claim after a preliminary investigation was conducted on the incident.
It was clear that when the pilot was taking off from Lagos, he was headed to Asaba, not Abuja, whereas the flight ought to be a flight headed for Abuja. There was no weather problem in Abuja yesterday. The NIMET DG is here. That's the NIMET. They are here. No weather problem in Abuja yesterday. It was a question of a wet lease plane where the pilots and the crew were all foreigners, not Nigerians. And that is what a wet lease is all about. A wet lease, they will give you their plane with their crew, with their pilots. And so they were not familiar with the Nigerian terrain. From the transcript we heard, the TOA kept asking the pilots, confirm again that you are going to Abuja, not Asaba. The pilot replied, no, I am going to Asaba. That's the transcript. Before they took off and they taxied into the runway, he asked again, the TOA asked again, confirm that it is Abuja you are going, not Asaba. The pilot replied and said, no, I am going to Asaba. So it was purely an issue of in-house administrative issues that they had. The dispatcher who must have dispatched that plane, and everyone, we have said, interview everybody, and where sanctions should apply, we should apply those sanctions. However, this has opened the eyes of the regulators to new steps that they must take. And I have spoken with them now, and we all agreed that henceforth, all wet leases coming into Nigeria, you must have a Nigerian pilot seated at least on the jump seats. If it's not the two pilots, on the jump seats must be seated there with the foreign pilots.
Now, here's a recap of this whole incident. United Nigeria Airlines Flight 0405 took off from the MM2 terminal in Lagos en route to Abuja, but the plane surprisingly landed at the Asaba airport with the crew welcoming the passengers to Abuja airport. But when the passengers looked through the aircraft windows, they discovered they were actually in Asaba. And there was no communication about an emergency landing because of poor destination weather, which the statement put out by the management of the airlines later now claimed. So in all of this, the minister's explanation seems to be very plausible. And it's the reason why all the wet lease aircrafts under United Nigeria Airlines have now been grounded. Quite a bizarre incident, no doubt. Deji Badimasi, TV 360, Lagos.
Appeal Court sitting in Lagos State has dismissed the petition filed by the governorship candidate of the All Progressive Congress in Rivers State, Patrick Tonye Cole, against Governor Siminalayi Fubara of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The APC candidate who was present in the courtroom on Tuesday wanted the court to direct INEC to declare him the winner of the March governorship election in Rivers. The tribunal had dismissed the petition, saying that the APC that sponsored Cole had withdrawn the petition against Fubara's victory. However, the judges of the appeal court concluded that the tribunal was in error to have struck out that item of the petition and affirmed the victory of Fubara on the grounds that the appellant's evidence were inadequate in proving the allegations of overvoting and other alleged irregularities. The Federal Capital Territory High Court is adjourned to January 18, 2024 for the continuation of the trial of the alleged procurement fraud suit against the former Central Bank of Nigeria's Governor Godwin Emefiele. Despite attempts by his legal team, the former CBN governor, who was recently arrested for allegedly breaking Nigerian procurement laws, have not been released. Emefiele's extraordinary strict bail requirement of 300 million naira has proven to be a significant barrier to his release, as he has not been able to meet his bail condition when he was brought to court, causing him to be taken away by armed personnel of the Nigerian Correctional Service. Nigeria's out-of-school rate is among the highest in the world, and the northern Nigeria is the most affected as a result of rampant insecurity. Several schools, especially in the northwest, have been attacked in recent years, with many students kidnapped and some killed in the process. The incidents have left a very deep scar on education in the region, as most of the schools attacked are yet to recover and some of them still remain short. As our special correspondent Deji Badimosi reports, the incident has worsened the out-of-school situation in that part of Nigeria.
The morning of March 12, 2021, chaos at the Federal College of Forestry Mechanization in Mando area of Kaduna State, northwest Nigeria. The night before, armed gunmen, popularly known as bandits, had stormed the tertiary institution, abducting 39 students. After initially releasing the students in batches, the bandits eventually released all the students on May 5, 2021. They spent 55 days in captivity. It's been over 2 years now since that incident happened, but the school has not remained the same again. Some of the affected students did not return to the school. Many have now abandoned the hostel.
To some of us who have opportunity to interact with the bandits during the process of negotiation for the release of our children,
Friday, Sani's daughters were among the 39 abducted students back in 2021. He says even though one of them has come back to the school to complete her studies, she's yet to recover from the traumatic experience.
She came back one day and told me that, Dad, we got a news that spies came and they learned they are those that spy for bandits to the school to come and spy the environment and see if there are area they can pass through to take students. So the first thing, I was in Abuja when she called me. I now quickly told her, please go back home and be coming from home to the school for the meantime. And out of fear, I started sorting for off-campus until something dawned on me that there is need for me to look for the advice of the management of the school. When I got there, they told me that there won't be any reason for me to fear, that I should allow her to return to the hostel. There are staffs living in the quarters there, and the hostel is just very close to staff quarters and all of that. So I came back telling her to return to the hostel. It was a battle. Said, Daddy, I know what I'm going through. If anybody just managed to knock my door, I jump from bed. So that I now told her, okay, what you do, this is the school, this is where your counselor is. Always meet your counselor for more counseling processes and other things. And at the end of the day, she's okay. And in few, maybe by next year, she'll be graduating. Now, the fear in educational institutions generally is that we don't know when this will stop, though it's minimal now. As at the 2021, it was high. It's minimal now, but nobody knows the next dimension that they may come. That is just the truth about it.
Just as the country was coming to terms with the brazen attack on the College of Forestry, another attack happened at Greenville University, a private university also in Kaduna State. Armed bandits attacked the school on the night of April 20th, 2021, abducting at least 20 students. 3 of the students would later be killed before the bandits freed others months later after collecting ransom payments. Today, the school is like a ghost village, completely deserted. The institution has now relocated to a temporary campus in the city. It's difficult to tell when academic activities will resume at the permanent site here.
So now, insecurity has forced children and parents in the first place, not to even allow their children to go to schools that are not secured. Insecurity has also put fear in the minds of the children that even if they are allowed to go, they don't know what's going to happen. So sometimes they just look for some flimsy excuse and don't go. Then insecurity have successfully shut down schools in many villages. And you know, like the Chibok girls who were about to write exams and the evil people came. Now these ones, it is not even about exams. The school have been shut down.
Do join us at 7 p.m. as we premiere the full documentary on Nigerian endangered schools. You can also watch it on all our social media platforms. We'll take a break here, but still to come, Minister of Aviation clears controversies on Nigerian Air, reveals project on hold for audit report. Details of the story right after this break. Welcome back. Here's a quick recap of our top stories. The Federal Executive Council (FEC) has carried out a comprehensive review of the 2024 Appropriation Bill and the 2024 to 2025 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework, which was earlier approved by the Senate. The adjustment has resulted in a substantial increase of 1.5 trillion naira in the 2024 Appropriation Bill, which is also going to be presented by the President to the National Assembly on Wednesday, November 29. We also told you that an appeal court sitting in Lagos State has dismissed the petition filed by the governorship candidate of the All Progressive Congress APC in Rivers State, Patrick Tonye-Cole, against Governor Siminalayi Fubara of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC). The tribunal had dismissed the petition, saying that the APC that sponsored Cole had withdrawn the petition against Fubara's victory. However, the judges of the appeal court concluded that the tribunal was in error to have struck out that item of the petition and affirmed the victory of Fubara on the grounds that the appellant's evidence were inadequate in proving the allegations of overvoting and other alleged irregularities. In case you missed any of the news bulletin or for more updates, you can catch us on Limes World TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. Or download our mobile app on Google Play Store and Huawei App Gallery. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. And in business, Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development Festus Keyamo has addressed the controversies surrounding the launch of Nigeria Air, the national carrier unveiled in May 2023 by former Aviation Minister Adi Sirika. Keyamo explained that the current administration under President Bola Tinubu has put the ongoing aviation sector reforms, which included the launch of the national carrier, on hold for a comprehensive audit of contracts. Our correspondent Okpeyemi Owosheni has more details.
After an initial tour of the Muritala Mohammed International Airport in August, the minister, who was making his first official visit to the Lagos airport, jumped the bombshell that the Air Nigerian project initiated by his predecessor, Adi Sirika, will have to hold on. He highlighted that the project was already launched just before the expiration of Sirika's tenure, and revealed that the plane showcased at the unveiling was a rented Ethiopian Airlines aircraft, which was flown back to Ethiopia after the unveiling. Criticism from stakeholders centered on the lack of transparency, with records showing the national carrier had not obtained the necessary Air Operator Certificate (AOC) to commence commercial operations. While the launch remains on hold, Ethiopian Airlines CEO Mesfin Tasew said the airline is open to any decision by the federal government regarding the project, pointing out that the East African carrier did not initially show interest in participating in the Nigerian Air project. the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, while fielding questions from journalists at the State House, says the federal government is currently reviewing the contract between Ethiopian Airlines and the Nigerian government.
All the documents, all the reports, everything we have forwarded to Mr. President. The issues we met on the ground. But just to say that it would have been irresponsible of me as minister to take over office, and I feel the pulse of Nigerians. I feel even the National Assembly raised concerns over that, and so many stakeholders. It would have been irresponsible to close my eyes totally to those concerns. So because of that, we suspended it to say, let's just look at all the issues. In the agreement, you are giving tax waivers to Ethiopian Airline coming into Nigeria. They asked for tax waivers for 5 years, and you granted them to come and compete with your local airlines who are paying those heavy taxes. How? You want to create a monopoly. That's why when they tell you that, oh, we want to crash price by 70%, it's a lie. And initially, oh, they will crash prices. Once you drive every other person out of the market, you now have a monopoly that you can hike it 500%. Nobody there to challenge you. The only thing that brings down prices in the commercial world is competition. It's fair competition.
With an ownership structure of 49% held by the Ethiopian Airlines, 46% by the Nigerian private investors, and 5% by the federal government, citizens are keen to see how the government with the smallest percentage will navigate the issue. Okpayemi Owosheni, reporting for TV360, Lagos.
We'll take a break here and be back with stock market reports. The Nigerian Stock Exchange went south, recording its first negative trading for the week, closing at 0.44%, while the market cap fell to 38 trillion naira. Topping the losers chart, Omatech Ventures came out last, with an end-of-day price depreciation of 10% at 81 kobo per share, followed by Ikeja Hotel closing at 4 naira 20 kobo per share. With a negative market breadth, investors traded 5 million volumes of shares, valued at over 5 billion in 8,136 deals. A way to our select global stocks is a mixed trading day for our stocks, as only the US Dow Jones ended in the bulls at 0.33%, leaving UK FTSE and Japan's Nikkei at 0.055 and 0.12%. On the global scene, rescuers in northern India have rescued at least 5 of the 41 workers trapped in the Silkyara tunnel in Uttarakhand. Government district official information Kriti has said the men had been trapped since November 12 when part of the tunnel that were helping to construct in India's northern Uttarakhand state gave way, blocking their only exit with more than 60 meters of broken rocks, concrete and twisted metals. The first workers were removed following a series of agonizing setbacks, during which rescue efforts were altered when the heavy machinery used to drill through the debris broke down. Authorities have been supplying the trapped men with oxygen, food and water through a separate narrow pipe. And finally, in sport, former Super Eagles head coach Samson Siasia says the players must improve their performance to stand a chance of competing the title at the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. The Super Eagles were far from convincing in their recent 2 outgoings against Lesotho and Zimbabwe. The shoddy display has cast doubt on Joseph Persirio's side's chances of winning a 4th title in Cote d'Ivoire. Siasia, a member of the Super Eagles side that won the 1994 AFCON in Tunisia, insisted that the players and technical crew needed to do more to stand any chance of making a positive impact at the AFCON. And that's the size of our bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I'm Tamilore Akinkolie. Bye for now.